For years I had been running D2 lowering springs with stock shocks, and the fronts were too low and caused rubbing on the front tires. After a lot of research, I decided to go with the Tein Street Advanced Coilovers.
This is the front. I'm guessing that goes with the spring somehow.
I began in the front by removing the wheels, then disconnected the brake line from its bracket as well as the sensor. After coating the lower bolts in PB Blaster, I broke them loose and used an impact to remove them. Then it was time to remove the top nuts. After the stock shock and springs are ready to come out. Next, I disconnected the stock sway bar links and replaced them as mine were damaged.
Quick shout out to Rob for letting me borrow these. It's not connected to the spring.
To remove the bolt on top of the shock, I used an Allen key and a wrench. Be careful though, as it's easy to strip the Allen.
Whew, you guys have no clue how long that took. Spring comes off.
With that off, place the bump stop and top hat assembly onto the new coilover. Then I set the height to Tein's recommended settings.
So we want it to be...
After tightening the top hat, the coilover is ready to go back on the car. Being by myself, I used a jack to help line up the bottom bolt holes. After reinstalling the remaining components, I moved on to the rears.
It's a 14, by the way.
Now this is where I ended up stripping the Allen head on the shock top. So out came the angle grinder, and we were back in business. I used a piece of wood and the help of my dad to take the rear spring off. After installing the adjustment mechanism, the new spring is ready to go back in.
I like that. Okay. So first, stop. And this is taking some damage. That gets a little bit weird. And I'm gonna leave this.
With the fronts and rears installed, I set the ride heights and the car is good to go.
It should be higher. Because that's a whole inch higher. Here's a little sneak peek of the coilovers in action. So you may have noticed I'm not in the garage that I filmed the video in, because I've recently moved, which is why it took me so long to get this video out. But be on the lookout, because I have a bunch of cool videos on improving the car and taking it out to Willow. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.